Hi dear friends, good morning. Welcome back to ಅಕ್ಷರಧಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು 7th August 2023. So yesterday was Sunday. So due to no time, so yesterday video was had not updated. So let's today is the 7th. Let's start today's newspaper reading. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪೇಪರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ನೀವಿನ್ನೂ ನನ್ನ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೀವು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಲೈಕ್ ಆದರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದೀರ ಅನ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಡೈಲಿ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ 2 hours ಈಸಿಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನನ್ನು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಡೌಟೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬನ್ನಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪೇಪರ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟುಡೇ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋ. Yes, let's start reading the newspaper. Today newspaper, what is public sentiment gets honored. Now Rajasthan becomes a state with 50 districts. The business conversations, business line, table talk. May boycott ASI survey at Ganwapi Mosque panel. Baladir Gadhar passes away. MP's Tiger strategy holds lessons for Kuno. Old template plays out in new battleground. 30 dead, 90 injured as train derails in Pak. India proves too good for Malaysia and act ACT. Amid fresh classes, AIT leaders to meet Amit Shah in Delhi. Home Minister asked Mizoram CM to facilitate one-to-one talks with tribal leaders, Kuki peoples. Alliance withdraws support to NDA government. Average rural supply in a state 19.05 hours per day in 2022-23. PM launches revamp of 503 508 Amrit Bharat railway stations. Government frames guidelines to demarcate awards. Government frames guidelines for demarcation of BBMP ward boundaries. According to the fresh norms issued by the Urban Development Department, ward delimitation will be done based on 2011 population survey. Builder diverts SWD to save villas from demolition. It's the kind of atmosphere where you are not allowed to comment. Lal Bagh for flower show draws more than 90,000 visitors over weekend. Police open fire at murder accused. Head constable last student found dead in separate incidents. Bike taxi driver robbed. 60-year-old man bludgeoned to death by son and his wife for property row. 24/7 power supply is only a dream in rural areas. A reality check on the ground says that the claims made by the union government in the Lok Sabha that the average power supply in rural Karnataka is 19.05 hours per day may be inflated. Between December and March, which is when irrigation is necessary, we do not get even 2 hours of power supply properly. We have stopped depending on the energy department for maintenance. We take our laborers and repair transformers and fuses. Tuition fees for engineering colleges out. 30,000 students make 5 lakh option entries for professional courses. Farmers' body opposed the release of water to Tamil Nadu. The state was releasing water to Tamil Nadu, sacrificing the interest of farmers of Karnataka who are awaiting the release of water to irrigate paddy fields. Build strong roots for STEM. After school programs make STEM subjects interesting by offering hands-on experience, practical applications, and exposure to advanced technologies. RCL celebrates Silver Jubilee. Building bridges to success, uncertain about your career options, low on self-confidence. This career counseling column may help. CM DKs to hold talks with Congress legislators from today to redress grievances. Meeting was necessitated after legislators wrote to Sidramaya and also raised some issues as CLP meeting. They said matters pertaining to their segments had not been addressed. HC notice to center on please challenging exclusion of disabilities from NFHS. Floor board up Vajra bus breaks after tire burst. Book release. Alice Foes, Muslim leaders in Congress demand ticket for 2 seats. Kavadigara Hatti, it shows up contamination still a mystery. Jamir examines Mumbai slum rehabilitation model. We need to make classics accessible to new generation. H.C. Venkatesh Murthy talks about the literacy tradition of Karnataka and concerns about the language survival in Bangalore. You have written many poems that have been set to music and made popular. When you started out, there was a certain disdain for Gita Gayana by Navya modernist writers. Those writing songs were frowned upon as lesser poets as the changed now. Timely CPR saves the 52-year-old who collapsed at work. Ecologists fear amendments to past Conservation Act will leave it a hollow shell. Mysore Police for centers aid to improve finances. Creating a legacy one wave at a time. On National Handloom Day, textile revivalist Pavitra Mudaya reminisces on the journey to revive several waves of Karnataka, including the Kabban Pete sari. An elegant, heartfelt tribute, the untold story behind Veerappan's manhunt. Balladir Gadda dies leaving behind revolutionary legacy. Handing stalemate, Telangana government approves a TSRTC bill. A bill was later passed by the Telangana Assembly while giving a consent. Tamil Sai made 10 recommendations, including that ownership of TSRTC assets should vest with corporation itself. Speaker Rao NSS to seek legal recourse. Telangana forms pay commission. No scope for talks with Karnataka on Kavi water dispute. Tamil Nadu Minister. Had a solution been possible through talks, there would have been no need for constituting the Kavi Water Dispute Tribunal. Kerala banks on imports adds below normal rainfall affects generation of hydropower. Temperature source in AP. Kerala man sets a model for conserving wild orchids. Unit of Sri Salampova House to be overhauled. No Mevathor template, new battleground. Let's make it Azival. Let's make it. The recent violence in Nanu district of Haryana, not far from the national capital, has followed a similar familiar template. Religious events may once have been occasion for affirming a sense of community through shared piety. They are now incomplete without a brazen display of aggression. Early this year, a group of independent professionals published a report with a self-explanatory title, Roots of Wrath, Weaponizing Religious Prescriptions. With a wealth of documentation, it put in context the violence that spread across 9 states like a contagion during Ram Navami and in the month the Jayanti this last year. Neither the first spark nor the means through which the flames were fanned were obscure. Indeed, as senior advocate Chandir Uday Singh put it, the catalyst out of the violence were the same across the geography of India. Religious processions are followed by targeted attacks on Muslim owned properties, businesses, and places of worship. Open collusion. Culpable amnesia is the term of art invoked, derived from a judicial commission of inquiry into the Bhagalpur riots, which climbed up to 1,000 lives in 1989. What is different now is that incompetence is not required as alibi, where plausible deniability was once maintained. Local administrations are now in open collusion with riotous mobs. Violence is the overt intent as a processionist processionist carry exposed weapons and march to the accompaniment of high decibel music and provocative slogans. Yet violence is not inevitable since extreme and restraint is usually maintained by the other side. Two incident-free years have passed in Nu, which has witnessed the birth of an entirely novel religious observance called the Brajmandal Jalabhishek Yatra. This year was different because of the declared participation of a notorious cow vigilante wanted in Boring, Rajasthan since February for the murder of two cattle traders, but moving around with impunity under the active protection of Haryana's police. In May 1924, close to a century ago, Mahatma Gandhi wrote a pamphlet on Hindu-Muslim tensions, an issue that for him was gaining almost obsessive importance. He was focused as always on inner essentials, but devoted great attention to their overt expressions. Just as cow slaughter had become something of a sore point for Hindus, music before a mosques had become one for Muslims. Neither side could reasonably expect to coerce the other into compliance. Though deliberate provocations could cease, I have heard, he continued, that in some places, Hindu purposely and with the deliberate intention of irritating Muslims perform arati just when the Muslims prayer commences. Cultural disdain. The nature of that cycle of mutual provocation has since changed dramatically. A cow slaughter ban is now a legislative pet accompli in most states. In states ruled by the Bharatiya Janata Party, these laws are imposed mainly by vigilantes granted the license to kill on mere suspicion and underline the utter disempowerment of the religious minority. Their place of worship are becoming focal points for a newly aggressive display of cultural disdain. No, and the Mewat region more generally are an unlikely terrain for this display of aggression. Muslim in the region referred to as the Miu are a community that draws heavily from the law of Brinda of the Vrindavan region, with traditions of veneration of a heterodox pantheon of gods. As India's independence approached the last century and bitter communal antagonisms played elsewhere, the Mio remained ecumenical in their identity and independent into the effort at mobilizing numbers behind each faith. Dyeing is a way of life for the Mio and cattle revered source of livelihood. Administratively, the Mewat region was once part of the princely states of Halwa and Bharatpur and became during the 1930s the focus of the Congress Party's Muslims mass contact program. Jawaharlal Nehru and his associates within the left wing of the Congress sought a strategy to deal with the embitterment between faiths by creating identities of shared material interest between peasants, workers, and the poor. Numerous other demands surfaced in this atmosphere of empowerment, including better representation for the Mio in the administration, equity in land ownership, and decentralized governance. Though far from the epicenters of partition, the Mio region witnessed a harsh retribution from its rulers, literally as than a mass extermination campaign. As the social scientist Shale Mayaram has documented, the statistics about these campaigns have long since sunk into the memory hole. In her book, Resisting Regimes, Professor Mayaram attempts a retrieval and finds numbers that are staggering, though that the greater significance is in the suppression of memories themselves. The consolidation of a nationalist sentiment required a sense of sociability, and after violence on this scale, the Mio witnessed it imposed silences from the victim. Mewar lies in an arc southwards of the national capital, though the spillovers of modernity halt it at its borders. Millennium City was the appellation that Gugan bestowed upon itself when both the Millennium and the India growth story were relative novelties. In 2007, Gugan rid itself of an unwanted appendage with the permission of Mewat district, subsequently renamed Nu. Since then, Gugan has flourished from a real estate boom while Nu has stagnated. The fifth round of the National Family Health Survey carried out 2019 to 21 presents 2019-21 presents the essential figures to take just two rather telling indicators of the female population above age 6. Only 51.2% no district have been to school against 80.9% in Gujarat and 73.8% in the state as a whole. Female literacy in Mewat is 41.9% of the relevant age group of 15 to 49 years against 84 to 84.4% in Gurgaon and 79.7% in the state. No is Haryana's only Muslim majority district with close to 80% of its 1.08 million population in 2011 identifying with the faith. Perhaps that is a sufficient reason why it is likely to languish forever in the backwaters of official attention. Why would such unpromising terrain become the battleground of faiths today? Partly because the emboldened Hindutva faces think they can do what they want, even where numbers are not in their favor. It is about establishing the authority of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad as sphere of Hindutva to legislate on religious practice all over the country. If the VHP should now pronounce it an essential element of Hindu belief that Nu is where Lord Krishna grazed his cows, that the region as his home to three Shaivite shrines from the Mahabharata era, all others in the Hindu Rashtra have no option but to accept these as undisputed truth. Hindutva as ideology expresses its expansionist intent in the religious procession, adorned with a symbolism that is under constant intervention. State power is now an accessory to its program rather than a countervailing force that upholds constitutional principles. Vigilantism in the scholarly understanding is an ensemble of coercive practices that seek to impose a moral order, an alternate system of legitimacy. This could work in defiance of the writ of the state, but the situation in India is ominously different. Didwa vigilantism here appropriates and subverts the state's monopoly of legitimate coercion, and in that lies great danger for the constitutional order. Let's go to the next page. Sense of proportion. There must be promptitude in restoring Rahul Gandhi's Lok Sabha membership. Heavy act of silence amplifies the horrors in Manipur. The image and graphic accounts of the Kukujo woman who was stripped, paraded, and armed by mobs and thugs have swept across the country and the world. They make us not only deep ashamed but also angry about the fact that such a terrible incidents continue to happen in India. For our leaders, spare no moment to inform us of India's world power aspirations. It's in the presidency of the G20 and a growing economy. We are reminded by politicians that sexual violence occurs across the country. Does that make it acceptable? Nothing of the sort. Ordinary people have joined protests against the incidents from Goa to Guwahati and Delhi to Shillong, demanding justice, holding placards, lighting candles, signing "We shall overcome someday," the anthem of the American civil rights movements, which fought for racial equality. These may seem small, helpless gestures, boy, but they matter. Every action for restorative justice matters just as every silence amplifies the harm and horror. Working for reconciliation. Take Chuma Kedima, on the edge of the bustling commercial town of Dimapur in Nagaland, where the forum of Naga reconciliation brought together Maithis and Cookies living in the state in an open field to hold hands and urge peace. That may seem symbolic, but it is far more than that. When you dig deeper, the FNR has worked for peace and reconciliation along with other Naga civil society leaders over 2 decades to bring peace and mutual respect among the bitterly divided factions. There has been much bloodshed in fratricidal conflicts among the latter, in addition to their battles with the security forces. Whether this will percolate across the border is not sure, but what is clear is that the Cookies and Maithis in Nagaland have been assured of safety by the political leadership. But ultimately, a resolution of such issues must involve the key players, perhaps with a little help from their friends. That is a long way away. Of course, there are setbacks such as the flight of Maithis from Mizoram after a group of former Mizo insurgents issued a statement warning them of local anger and suggesting that they go home. The state government said the call by the group was consequently withdrawn, but the damage had been done in this acutely sensitive region where ethnic fault lines are deep and go back. Over long years of simmering distrust and unrest, it takes little to kindle a fire. Mizoram says that over 12,000 persons from Kuki and Mojomi tribes, which have ethnic kinship with the Mijos, have taken shelters in the state. The small state is struggling as it hosts another 40,000 plus Chin refugees from neighboring Myanmar who have fled a brutal military crackdown and fighting between insurgent groups and the Myanmar army. The issue of accountability, but let us return to the key issue of accountability for the specific incidents of sexual violence. More such cases have emerged as women have courageously spoken to reporters. The Chief Minister of Manipur, and Biren Singh, who is now as seen as having consolidated his hold over the Maithis majority in the Impal Valley, says he saw the horrific videos only on the day that they emerged in the public domain last week. He later told the television anchor, "You have to see the ground reality. There are hundreds of similar cases, and that is the reason why the internet is shut off in the state." That is at a stock and revealing statement. Although in the same interview, I had said that many had been killed and there are more than 1,000 FIRs, first information report lodged. That is one clarification that the chief minister needs to make. Was he referring to cases of sexual abuse, or the many FIRs have been filed over death, arson, looting, and intimidations? Intimidation. The Judicial Commission to fix accountability for the situation was announced 2 months ago, but is at to start its work. It should take up the case of sexual abuse as one which mirrors many of the issues relating to the failure of the administration to uphold law and order and protect the vulnerable. There are a few key questions that need review. First, what did the officers do after the incident? Are there records of the action they took, such as calls, short messaging services, wireless messages, and minutes of meetings with other police officials? The incident, as one media account said, took place approximately a kilometer away from Nong Pok Sekmai, which was ranked by the central government as the best police station of the country in 2020. The second is how and when did this information reach the heads of the police, the civil service, and this political leadership? What we do now know is that the FIR on the incident was lodged on May 17, and the first arrest was announced at the chief minister's press conference. 2 months later, there is the issue of the chairperson of the National Commission for Women, who has confirmed receiving detailed complaints of these and other attacks. She sent requests to the other state authorities and got no reply. She should have gone herself to the state, demanded explanations, and asked the state commission for women to join her. Another opportunity was missed, backed on Act East policy. These issues are unconnected to the state's future. There is a virtually no talk about efforts to meet Manipur aspirations through the Act East policy, which is to connect the Northeast to Southeast Asia. But one wonders now, with supply lines disrupted, the conflict in the state, a situation awash with weapons and allegations of rebels and drugs slipping across the border. If and how this dream can be recovered? Is about the Manipur violence, which is going, which is happened, which is gone and happening. The bureaucracy as prosecutor and judge. Few funds, but many promises. The Telangana government is struggling to meet its commitments. Passed Pon Gukesh surpasses its mentor from Madras. For only the second time as an Indian Grandmaster overtaken, V. Anand is in live ratings since 1996. Passed Pon G20 negotiators face climate change hurdle. Differences over a common language on climate change hold up talks on leaders' declaration. Reference to Ukraine conflict is the main reason no G20 ministerial meeting has issued a giant communique. So far, negotiators are burning the midnight oil to resolve issues ahead of a summit in September. WhatsApp group admin held for remark against Adityanath. Armed men damaged shops of Muslims in Panipat. FIR lodged against AIP leader for new riots, hotel demolition. Two minor boys boasted to drink urine, tortured in UP. FATP trying to revise the recommendations to safeguard NPOs. Editors Guild raises concerns over data protection press bills. Infiltration bid fired. One militant killed in Kupwar. Congress funds pool observers for Telangana, Chhattisgarh. One killed in Chhattisgarh power steel factory explosion. Rising food prices may undo recent spike from inflation. This could compel RBI to stay hawkish and possibly raise its inflation projections for the ongoing July to September quarter as well as the full year 23-24 and a delay hopes of an interest rate cut. Rahul Gandhi's YouTube channel sees a five-fold growth. Congress leaders. PM says opposition parties are doing negative politics. Congress president sits back. President says the president sits back. Opinion divided on MP Congress warming to self-styled preacher amid election season. Why has not Raul been reinstated as MP? Asks Stalin. Details of unaccounted for wealth highly classified. The NIPFP needs to provide information on unaccounted wealth under Section 81A of the RTI Act. Best strategies for tigers can help cheetahs too. The state's plan of actively moving tigers and their prey within the state to balance predator and prey population is a key indicator of success, say experts. This strategy may help form a viable cheetah population in the national park in the state that has already seen the death of six animals. 40 CBL officials get police medals for meritorious service. Man files case against wife for marrying again in Pakistan. 5% of birds in India are endemic, says Geological Survey of India publication. Assam CM gets a report on ending polygamy to bring bill in house. Panel says steps to get more women to join CAPs. Air travel costs should remain within common man's reach. The 10 incarnations of Lord. Know that accessibility have fewer investment unit returns, more traps. Cover note closer to renewal date, your bargaining power goes down, especially if you are a buyer in a seller's market, and this without a doubt in as far as health insurance is concerned. Gold, silver, rake and sheet. Like your salary or business income, your investment returns are taxable as well. You should not make a tax efficiency the basis of your investment decisions. China Coast Guard fired water cannon at boats, says Philippines. Afghan Supreme Leader wants fighters against attack abroad. Niger military on brink of African bloc's deadline to reverse coup. Israeli troops kill three suspected Palestinian militants in West Bank. 30 killed and 90 injured in train accident in South Pakistan. The 10 coaches of the Rawalpindi bound Ajara Express goes up track, women and children among the dead and injured. Officials suspect crash could be due to a mechanical fault or sabotage. Maldives SC boss former President Amin from a contesting September polls. 30 migrants missing, 47 rescued in two shipwrecks of Italian island Lampedusa. Ukraine faces multiple waves of attacks. Russia claims to have struck military airfield. Airfields. Prarthana Tikhonova fair clinches title. Briar Ridge should repeat in the Mount Everest fleet. NRI double power wins future feature. Pranay loses to Wang finishes runner up at Australian Open. Women's World Cup sets attendance record. Fit again Rashid in Afghanistan squad for Pakistan ODIs. Arsenal fifth Manchester City via penalties in Community Shield. Dutch coach warning and a special India connection. India overwhelms Malaysia, goes to the top of the table. The host registered a thumping 5-0 win thanks to a compact and cohesive unit. China shares the honors with Korea as the Chen touch works wonders. Pakistan takes the lead twice and fights back once to hold Japan in a 6-goal thriller. Pakistan gets government clearance for ODI World Cup in India. Poon's blistering knock trumps Tilaks as West Indies takes a 2-0 lead in T20 High Series. Mukesh Prag and Arjun Progress. Sweden knocks out a defending champ USA on penalties. Netherlands eases past South Africa. Peters Gerardsen side won 5-4 in a sudden death shootouts and will face Japan next. The Dutch team will clash against Spain in its last 8 contest. Alex Espargaro swoops late on Bagnaia in British Moto GP. Indian swimmer fails doping test ahead of Asian Games. Mithun is now with Chennai Superstars. Asian Games probable judoka Jocelyn Saini fails dope test. Javelin Anu Rani 7th in Germany event. Yeah, East Bengal fritters away advantage. A disappointing day for India. Shiv the propeller behind wheelchair tennis in India. Unlike every other player who is passionate about growing in the post sport and dreams of competing at Wimbledon one day, he is driven by the enthusiasm to light up the lives of others, along with his father Vidur. He is determined to mobilize his resources for boosting the sport of the country. World Cup exit marks the end of an era for United States. In Wimbledon, I saw wheelchair tennis for the first time. I was fascinated. Next year, we want to host an ITF tournament for wheelchair players so that they can improve their world ranking. The United States had won the last 2 Women's World Cups and 4 of the highest editions held before this year. It had never gone out before the semi-final stage. Test your knowledge on sports persons and events. Endogamy linked to persistence of harmful genetic variants. A new study has found higher frequency of homozygous genotypes in South Asian populations, most likely as a result of caste endogamy and consanguineous sexual unions, such as frequency could lead to higher risk of genetic disorders. Such South Indian and Pakistani subgroups were estimated to have a high degree of inbreeding. Supernova, the universe engines. This last 2 pages, text and context page, has India's sugar surplus leading to a crisis. Total profit of public sector banks in Q1 financial year 24. Bulk drug imports from China have soared in financial 23. Pakistan population, according to latest census, a additional number of airport security sanctioned. Cruise missiles downed by Ukraine overnight. Why did Meta block Canada's access to news reports? Is Canada's Online News Act a necessary measure to balance the power between tech giants and new publishers? Are Meta and Google truly benefiting publishers amid the content blocked? Musk's Starlink. Why the new sovereign of low Earth orbit is bad news? In Russia's Ukraine conflict, Starlink satellites integration sparks global debates on remote control technology. Its dominance and the implications of relying on a single entity for satellite internet services come into focus. Remembering the day as a grayish darkness, the descended over everything in Hiroshima. The site of the world's first use of a nuclear weapon in war 78 years ago. This is the Musk Starlink information. If it is informative, kindly read this page for better understanding. So I hope you guys have enjoy the newspaper reading, and please read the newspaper for up to 2 hours to make you better in communication. So please subscribe the channel, like and comment, so I can bring very informative videos in the upcoming days and upcoming videos and the upcoming days. So see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.